I was halfway through pouring coffee when I heard my daughter-in-law decide where I was going to live. "Ethan, I'm serious. I need calm before the baby comes. Your mother can stay with her sister for a while. We need this house to ourselves." Her voice carried from the living room with the confidence of someone discussing a decision that had already been made. I set the coffee pot down carefully. For one strange second, I stared at the steam curling above my mug and wondered whether I had misunderstood. Then I heard my son murmur something too low to catch, followed by Vanessa saying, "She'll get over it." That was enough. I walked into the living room with my mug in one hand and found Vanessa stretched across my sofa, one palm resting on her stomach. Ethan sat in the armchair opposite her, looking like a teenager caught cheating on an exam. I smiled. "Where exactly am I supposed to go?" Vanessa's face changed instantly. "Oh, Marianne, we didn't hear you. I noticed." Ethan cleared his throat. "Mom, Vanessa's just been feeling overwhelmed." "Overwhelmed by what?" Vanessa sat straighter. "A newborn needs stability, quiet, space, privacy. You understand?" "I do." Relief flickered across her face too soon. Then I added, "Which is why you and Ethan should start looking for your own place." The room went silent. Vanessa blinked. "What?" "This is my house." I said it softly because I did not need volume. The house had been mine for nearly 30 years. My husband Richard and I bought it when Ethan was 5, paid off the mortgage, and raised our family there. Richard died 4 years earlier, but pieces of him remained everywhere. The dent in his workbench, the crooked brass hook by the back door, the pencil marks behind the pantry showing Ethan's height through the years. Vanessa knew that. 6 months earlier, when she and Ethan asked to move in temporarily so they could save for a down payment before the baby arrived, I had said yes, before they finished asking. They were family. I had 3 empty bedrooms. I wanted to help. Temporary, they had promised. Grateful, they had said. Somewhere along the way, gratitude had curdled into expectation. Vanessa sighed as if I were being difficult. "Marianne, no one is saying it isn't technically your house." "Technically?" Ethan winced. Vanessa continued, "But we're starting a family. We need more room than one person." I looked at my son. "Do you agree?" His eyes dropped to the rug. That hurt more than anything Vanessa had said. He did not say yes. He also did not say no. I took a sip of coffee. "Well," I said, "that clears things up." I turned toward the kitchen. "Mom?" Ethan called after me. I did not stop. By the time I sat at the breakfast table, I had made one decision. I was finished paying people to disrespect me. Until that morning, I had covered almost everything. The mortgage was gone, but I still paid property taxes, electricity, water, internet, streaming services, groceries, and most household supplies. Ethan paid nothing toward housing because every spare dollar was supposedly going into savings. I still paid his car insurance out of habit, a leftover arrangement from his college years that had somehow survived into his 30s. Vanessa worked remotely as a marketing coordinator and had expensive tastes: organic groceries, specialty drinks, skincare deliveries, and designer baby items. I had funded all of it indirectly by making their life at my house nearly free. That afternoon, while Vanessa was at a salon appointment, I opened my laptop. First, I downgraded the internet package. Then I canceled every streaming service except the one I used. Then I removed Ethan's car insurance from my automatic payments and sent him the renewal notice. I did not announce any of it. That afternoon, Vanessa came home and soon shouted from the living room, "Marianne!" I was in the den reading when she appeared with the television remote. "The internet is barely working." "It's working." "No, it isn't. The show keeps buffering." I changed the plan. Her mouth opened. "Why?" "The old plan was expensive and I don't need that much speed." "I need it for work." "Then you should get a plan that meets your needs." She stared at me. "You mean pay for it?" "I assume internet companies still prefer money." Her face tightened. When Ethan came home, she intercepted him before he removed his shoes. "Your mother cut the internet." "I did not cut it," I called from the den. "I reduced it." He appeared a moment later. "Mom, can we not do this?" "Do what?" He rubbed the back of his neck. "Make everything difficult." I folded my book closed. Ethan, your car insurance renews Friday. I forwarded the bill to you. His expression went blank. What? I've been paying it for years. I decided you should take over. Mom, we're trying to save. So am I. For what? I smiled. Retirement. Neither of them had an answer. That Sunday, I made another change. For months, I had been doing the grocery shopping while Vanessa's pregnancy produced a constantly changing list of specialty foods. My grocery bill had nearly tripled. So I went shopping for one person. I bought regular eggs, normal bread, vegetables I actually liked, fresh salmon, coffee beans from the little roaster downtown, and one bottle of red wine. Then I stopped at the hardware store and bought a cabinet latch and a small brass padlock. When I got home, I cleared the lower left side of the pantry for Ethan and Vanessa. I placed my coffee, snacks, wine, baking chocolate, and other expensive items in the tall cabinet beside the refrigerator and locked it. Monday morning, Vanessa opened the fridge and stood there for nearly a minute. Where's my oat milk? I didn't buy any, she turned. What about the coconut yogurt? No. The organic blueberries? No, her eyes narrowed. Then what did you buy? My groceries. I pointed to the shelves I had cleared. Those two are yours. The left side of the pantry is yours, too. She looked at the locked cabinet. You actually locked food away? I locked my food away. This is ridiculous. No, this is organized. I'm pregnant. I know. You expect me to go grocery shopping? I expect you and your husband to feed yourselves. She gave a short, disbelieving laugh. You are unbelievable. I poured coffee into my mug. Vanessa, pregnancy deserves support. It does not make you incapable of opening a shopping app. Her face flushed. For a second, I thought she might start yelling. Instead, she grabbed her phone and marched upstairs. That afternoon, Ethan texted me from work. Mom, can we please stop escalating things? I replied with one sentence. I stopped subsidizing things. That is not the same thing. He never answered. The thermostat became the next battlefield. I kept the house at 72 degrees. Vanessa said pregnancy made her unbearably hot. I suggested fans and offered a small air conditioner for their bedroom. Instead, she kept lowering the central air until I was walking through my own living room in a sweater. One afternoon, I came home from volunteering at the library and found the thermostat set to 63. I looked at the electric meter outside. Then I drove to the hardware store again. The clerk helped me choose a clear, locking thermostat cover, like the kind used in office buildings. I installed it myself, set the temperature to 72, locked the cover, and put the key on my keyring. Vanessa discovered it after dinner. I heard plastic rattling in the hallway. Marianne! I came around the corner carrying folded towels. She pointed at the thermostat. What is this? A cover. It's locked. Yes. I need it colder. The electric bill last month was $348. I'm pregnant, and I am paying the bill. Her jaw clenched. You can't control the temperature for everyone. I can control the thermostat in the house I own. She looked at me as if I had violated some sacred rule. I could overheat. At 72 degrees? My doctor said I need to stay comfortable. Then buy a fan, or a portable unit for your room. You're welcome to use one as long as you and Ethan cover the extra electricity. Ethan approached later that night. Can I get a spare key? No. Mom? Are you taking over the electric bill? He exhaled hard. No. Then no. He walked away without arguing. That was when I realized something important. Ethan was not powerless. He was simply accustomed to choosing the easiest person to disappoint. For years, that person had been me. A week later, Vanessa crossed a line I could not ignore. I came home from a morning walk and found her in my bedroom. She was standing beside my bed with a tape measure stretched from the wall to the dresser. For a moment, I just watched her. She had a small notebook in one hand. Can I help you? She jumped. I was measuring for the crib. The crib is going in your room. She shook her head. Ethan and I talked about it. This room makes more sense for the baby. It's downstairs, the bathroom is attached, and you could move upstairs." She said it as if she were assigning hotel rooms. I walked to the bedroom door and opened it wider. "Put the tape measure away." "Marianne, please be reasonable." "I am being extremely reasonable. You don't need this much space. I paid for this much space." Her eyes flashed. "You're one person. And you are two adults who moved into my guest room temporarily. 3 soon. Then you should make plans for 3. She crossed her arms. "Ethan already said the nursery idea makes sense." I looked straight at her. "Ethan does not own this house." She stared at me for another second, then shoved the tape measure into her bag and brushed past me. The minute she left, I called a locksmith. By late afternoon, there was a new deadbolt on my bedroom door. It felt absurd, but necessary. That same week, I stopped doing their laundry. The arrangement had started innocently, but soon Vanessa was leaving full baskets outside the laundry room as if service were included. So I stopped. I stopped cooking for them, too. One Tuesday evening, I grilled a small piece of salmon, roasted asparagus, and sat at the kitchen island with one plate. At 6, Ethan and Vanessa came downstairs. Ethan looked at the stove. "Where's dinner?" I looked at my plate. "Here." He almost smiled because he knew how ridiculous the question sounded. Vanessa did not. "We don't have anything ready." "There's a Thai place 3 blocks away." "You could have told us you weren't cooking." "I'm telling you now that I won't be cooking for you regularly anymore." Vanessa threw her hands up. "This is hostile." "No, hostile would be throwing your dinner in the yard. This is me not making it." The next morning, a basket of dirty clothes appeared outside the laundry room. I stepped around it. At noon, Vanessa nearly tripped over it. She turned on me. "Why is this still here?" "Because you left it there." "I thought you were doing laundry." "I did mine yesterday." "I have nothing clean." "The washing machine is available." She stared. "You took the detergent." "I bought the detergent." For several seconds, she looked genuinely stunned. It would have been funny if it had not been so revealing. She had become so comfortable using my labor that she interpreted its absence as punishment. I did not lecture her. I simply went outside and watered my roses. The baby shower happened 2 weeks later. Vanessa never asked whether she could host it at the house. She told Ethan, and Ethan told me. "Saturday from 1 to 4, he said carefully. I was trimming basil in the kitchen. "Fine." He looked surprised. "Fine?" "Yes, just clean up afterward." I had errands anyway, so I left before noon. My errands took less time than expected. I returned shortly after 2. Cars filled the driveway and lined the curb. Pink and gold balloons were tied to the porch rail. I could hear laughter through the open front windows. I stepped inside quietly. At first, nothing seemed unusual. Then I noticed the hallway. The family photographs were gone. Richard beside the lake, Ethan at graduation, my parents on their anniversary, our last Christmas before Richard got sick. All of them. I walked into the living room. The mantel was covered in framed maternity portraits and ultrasound images. My wedding photograph had been shoved behind gift bags on a low shelf near the fireplace. Something cold settled in my chest. Vanessa saw me. Her smile faltered. "Oh, Marianne, you're back early." "I am." Her friends glanced between us. She gestured vaguely toward the decorations. "We needed more space for the baby theme." I walked to the low shelf, picked up my wedding photograph, and wiped a smear of frosting from the corner of the frame. Then I crossed to the mantel. I moved one maternity photo 6 inches to the side and placed Richard's picture in the center. "I prefer my husband where I can see him." No one spoke. I smiled politely at the guests. "Enjoy the shower." Then I went into the hall. I found my photographs stacked in a cardboard box inside the coat closet. I carried them out one at a time and put every picture back where it belonged. The guests tried to keep talking, but the sound of picture hooks tapping into place seemed louder than music. Soon, people were leaving. Vanessa did not confront me until the front door closed behind the last guest. You embarrassed me. I was straightening a frame. You removed photographs of my dead husband without asking. It was temporary. So is your stay here. Her face went still. I looked at her. Clean the kitchen before bed. Then I walked to my bedroom and locked the door. 3 days later, the confrontation finally arrived. I was sitting on the back patio reading when Ethan and Vanessa came outside together. I knew immediately they had rehearsed. Ethan looked miserable. Vanessa looked furious. "Mom," Ethan began, "we need to talk." I folded the newspaper. "All right," Vanessa stepped forward. "This situation is impossible." I nodded. "I agree." She seemed thrown off. "You've made the house uncomfortable on purpose. You lock food away. You control the temperature. You refuse to help. You humiliated me at my shower." I put my photographs back on my walls. "You know what I mean." "I do." She inhaled sharply. "I cannot spend the rest of my pregnancy like this." "That sounds difficult." She stared at me. Then she delivered what she clearly believed was the winning move. "So either you stay somewhere else until after the baby is born, or Ethan and I are leaving." Ethan's face changed when she said it. I could tell he had not expected her to phrase it so plainly. I stood. Vanessa straightened, almost triumphant. I walked inside. Behind me I heard Ethan whisper, "Vanessa." I went to the garage, opened a cabinet, and pulled out 4 flattened moving boxes left from a renovation. Then I returned to the patio and handed them to her. She looked down. "What are these?" "Boxes." "I can see that." "You said you would leave." Her mouth opened. I smiled. "I accept." Ethan stood quickly. "Mom, wait." "No, she didn't mean—" "Yes, she did." Vanessa's face had lost its color. I continued, still calm. "You have until the last day of the month. Leave the house keys on the kitchen counter." Ethan stared at me. "Mom, please." "You are 32 years old. You are married. You are about to become a father. It is time to live in your own home." Vanessa found her voice. "You're really kicking out your pregnant daughter-in-law?" "No. You gave me 2 choices. I chose the one that does not involve me leaving my own house." She looked at Ethan as if expecting him to fix it. He could not. For the first time, neither of us gave him an easy path. The panic began upstairs that night. Their bedroom sat above the kitchen, and the old ceiling carried every argument about rent, deposits, credit cards, and savings. By the second night, the truth was clear. They had almost nothing saved. I had assumed Ethan's salary was accumulating quietly. Instead, much of it had gone to trips, restaurants, designer baby furniture, Vanessa's leased SUV, and a stroller that cost more than my first used car. Free housing had not created discipline. It had created room for more consumption. On Wednesday, Ethan came downstairs alone. I was wiping the kitchen counters. "Mom," I looked up. "We found a few apartments." "That's good." "They're expensive." "I'm sure." He swallowed. "We don't have enough for first month deposit and moving costs. Can we stay?" "No. Just another 6 months. I'll pay rent." "That is not the point anymore. You allowed your wife to plan my removal from my own home, then assumed I would surrender because I was afraid of losing access to you." His eyes lifted. "I never wanted that." "You allowed it." He flinched. I softened my voice, but not my position. "I love you. That is exactly why I am not rescuing you from this." His eyes reddened. "What are we supposed to do?" "Live within your means." He gave a bitter laugh. "That's easy for you to say." "No, it isn't." I put the cloth down. "Your father and I spent years living within our means. We had 1 car when you were little. I packed lunches, we skipped vacations, we refinished cabinets instead of replacing them. This house did not appear because life was easy." He was quiet. "You have options," I said. "Sell things. End the lease on the SUV if you can. Return unopened baby items. Find a smaller apartment. Stop pretending your first home has to look like a catalog." He rubbed his face. "You really won't change your mind?" "No." He nodded slowly. Then he went upstairs. For the first time in weeks, I felt sad rather than angry. Setting a boundary did not erase love. Sometimes it made love hurt more. Over the next 2 weeks, things changed. The expensive stroller disappeared from the foyer. Boxes of unopened nursery decorations were returned. Ethan sold a gaming console and several electronics. Vanessa canceled 2 appointments I knew she had been looking forward to. They found a 2-bedroom apartment across town above a dental office. It had no walk-in closet, no granite counters, and no backyard. It also had a monthly rent they could afford. The moving truck arrived on a Saturday morning. I made coffee and stayed out of the way while Ethan carried boxes downstairs and Vanessa supervised silently. Once she stopped to look at the family photographs she had removed. Neither of us said anything. When the last box was loaded, Ethan stood on the porch with the spare key in his hand. "Mom," I waited. "I'm sorry." It was the first direct apology I had heard from him. "For what?" He looked toward the truck where Vanessa was buckling herself into the passenger seat. "For acting like this place was ours, for letting things get that far." I took the key. "Thank you." He nodded. Then he hugged me. I hugged him back. Vanessa did not say goodbye. I watched the truck pull away until it disappeared around the corner. Then I went inside and closed the door. The silence felt enormous. Not lonely, mine. I walked to the thermostat, 72. I laughed. I unlocked the pantry and removed the brass padlock. I stood there holding it for a second, then dropped it into the junk drawer instead of the trash. A reminder. I brewed coffee, opened the back doors, and let warm air move through the house. For the first time in months, no one sighed because I had music playing. No one complained about the smell of garlic. No one moved my things. That night, I slept with my bedroom door unlocked. 6 months later, my granddaughter, Lily, was born healthy. I met her at the hospital the next morning. Vanessa looked truly exhausted, her hair tangled, her face bare, holding Lily as if the rest of the room did not exist. When she finally looked at me, something in her expression had changed. "Do you want to hold her?" I did. Lily was warm and impossibly small. As I sat beside the hospital bed, I felt none of the triumph I had imagined during our worst arguments. I only felt grateful. After they returned home, I visited once a week. I always called first. I never stayed too long. Their apartment was cramped, but clean. Ethan learned to cook. Vanessa returned to work because they needed the income. They canceled the SUV lease and bought a used hatchback. They were tired and stressed, but they were becoming adults in ways my house had allowed them to postpone. 4 months after Lily was born, Vanessa surprised me while I held the baby in their kitchen. "I owe you an apology," she said. "I was awful." I did not rush to comfort her. She continued, "I thought because you had space we deserved it. I thought because you could afford things, you should pay for them. And I kept telling myself it was for the baby." She gave a tired laugh. "Turns out babies don't care about organic avocado spread." I smiled despite myself. "No, they usually don't." She finally looked at me. "When I moved your pictures, I knew it was wrong. That hurt. I know." Silence stretched between us. Then she said, "I'm sorry." This time, I believed her. "I accept your apology." We did not become best friends. I did not forget everything, but forgiveness did not require pretending nothing happened. It required deciding what would happen next. We built something new, careful, respectful, limited. Ethan came by my house alone last week to bring me a framed photograph of Lily. He knocked. That detail mattered. For most of his life, Ethan had walked into my house without thinking. After living there as an adult, he had learned the difference between being family and having access. I opened the door. He wiped his shoes on the mat before stepping inside. "The place looks good," he said. "It feels good." He noticed the thermostat and laughed. "Still 72? "Always." I made coffee. We sat at the kitchen table where months earlier I had decided I was finished financing my own disrespect. Ethan turned the mug in his hands. "Vanessa says you're coming Sunday." "For an hour." He smiled. "She knows." I studied my son. He looked older than he had 6 months earlier. more tired, more solid. "How are you doing?" I asked. He thought about it. "Better." "Really?" "Yeah." He looked around the kitchen. "I hated you for about a week," I assumed. "Then I hated apartment prices." I smiled. His expression softened. "I think I needed you to say no." Outside, wind moved through the maple tree Richard and I had planted decades ago. "I think I needed to learn how," I said. Ethan nodded. When he left, I walked him to the door. He did not ask for a key. I did not offer one. After he drove away, I stood in the hallway and looked at the photographs on the wall. Richard beside the lake. Ethan graduating, Lily wrapped in a yellow blanket. All of it belonged together. Family was not obedience. Love was not endless access. Generosity was not a contract requiring me to disappear when someone else wanted more room. I had spent too many years believing that keeping peace meant absorbing discomfort. I had confused being needed with being valued. I never had to become cruel to change it. I simply stopped paying for what I did not owe, stopped performing labor no one appreciated, locked the doors that needed locking, and took their ultimatum seriously. The house taught them something. It taught me something, too. A boundary does not need to sound dramatic to be real. Sometimes it sounds like, buy your own groceries. Sometimes it sounds like, no, you may not have the key. Sometimes it looks like 4 flattened cardboard boxes held out on a sunny patio. And sometimes protecting your peace is not about pushing people away. Sometimes it is the only thing that gives a relationship enough space to become healthy. That night, I placed Lily's new photograph on the mantel beside Richard's. Then I poured a small glass of wine, opened the back doors, and sat in the quiet. My quiet, my home, my life. And I finally understood that I did not have to earn the right to keep any of them.